All right, Delilah fans, I hope you're doing well. I know I'm late to the party, but we're doing the review for Season 1, Episode 3, entitled Sometimes Apart. 8 out of 10. This has been my favorite episode of the season so far. I know it's only 3 episodes in, so the bar isn't set too high, but I felt like this episode did a pretty decent job of moving the plot forward. I just feel like this show, again, I don't want to give it too high praise when it just started out, but this show does remind me of Greenleaf because, well, the same creators, but it also has Ambitions vibes to an extent where it's always moving. There's always something happening. Even when it's a slow, quiet scene, emotional, something's happening because of development, and I like that. So, without further ado, if you can go ahead and give this video a thumbs up to show you like it, hit the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content to the channel. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And you know by now, I'm trying to get the percentage up for the amount of watch time that is consumed by subscribers on the channel. Currently, I'm about 30% of my watch time coming from subscribers, whereas we're almost at 70% of people who haven't subscribed but watch the channel anyway. So hit the subscribe button if you are a frequent visitor to the channel, but you haven't been, committing. So if you subscribe, just watch the content. I'm trying to get to 40% by the end of the month. So Delilah chews out Leah, rightfully so, because of the fact that there was a major hiccup at the end of the last episode when Tamara sent those photos that Leah had sent to what's his name? Was it Fred? Tamara's boss? No. Yeah. I think it was Fred. I know Gary's the one who allegedly killed himself via overdose, but I forgot the names already. Basically, it's a situation where Leah's lies have put Delilah in a compromising position. I mean, Tamara is blowing her phone up. Hey, 3 years severance pay if she signs the NDA, and Leah's lighting up over this. But apparently, this alleged affair started about 6 years ago via online dating. Apparently, she was a bit of a prostitute or something like that. So Tamara kept texting during this entire conversation. And she makes Leah promise to tell the truth. And I get Delilah wants to fight for the little guy, but when you have a client who's known to be non-trustworthy, maybe it shouldn't have taken the case. I don't know. So in any case, this is my favorite part of the episode because it shows me, oh damn, this show's about to get real. So there was a reporter there doing an interview about the dangerous radios, the reasoning for why Leah got fired in the first place. And, Delilah's there kind of, just, I wouldn't say moderating, but just kind of seeing to make sure the report, well, in a way, a moderator, make sure the interview doesn't go left. I mean, I think that Delilah had told Leah about not mentioning the affair at all, given the fact that, he's still married and everything. They want to keep that hush hush. Basically, don't incriminate yourself. Keep the focus on the radio stuff. So Delilah gets, I believe, a bunch of texts from her brother, and she steps out to call, and he confronts her over the phone about going to see Christine, and the whole Dion situation, but he hangs up on her. So when she goes back into the room, remember Delilah had stepped out all but like 30 seconds. Apparently, I believe Leah had shown the reporter some texts and whatnot, and Delilah's like, whoa, what's going on here? So the reporter leaves, and Leah's like, oh wait, did I mess up? She's like, you damn sure did. And next thing you know, a woman comes in, and it turns out she's the actual reporter who was supposed to be conducting the interview. And oh my gosh, Delilah is pissed off. And I was like, yo, this is getting real. So it turns out, there were like 5 other men or whatever that Leah had been, escorting in the past. And I believe Nate actually helps out with facial recognition and determine that, hey, this person's an actress, and she works at Win Lockheed, I believe is the name of the law firm or business that Tamara works at. So Delilah is so mad about this. And she calls Tamara because I think Delilah called Tamara, and Tamara's watching, Maya's violin recital, and she goes off. Tamara gets an alert, an email while she's on the phone, and it's the recording of Leah's incriminating interview. She confronts her boss about this win. And this isn't the game she plays, which makes me believe that Tamara might actually leave her law firm or something like that. For what if her and Delilah become partners at their own firm? I could possibly see that being how the series ends, because Tamara's in it to win, to be partner and everything, but she has morals, which again, that shows like in the law and politics game, there's always going to be underhanded tactics. So after that, Delilah and Nate are talking because she goes to the hospital to visit him, and he doesn't appreciate how she went over to confront Christine and Andre while Delilah's trying to get her brother to open his eyes about the fact that, hey, I'm telling you the truth. You're neglecting your son. You're not seeing the fact that your wife is having an affair with your alleged friend, and the fact that because you're in a wheelchair, you feel like, you're not capable of walking forward in life. He doesn't want to hear it. So Delilah is talking with Maya. And again, we move over quick. It's 1 minute. It's like the afternoon, early evening. Next thing you know, it's nighttime. So Delilah's talking with Maya about the fact that Miss Virginia wants to meet Miss Virginia at 3:30 the next day to ensure that these free lessons aren't some kind of trick. I can understand that. I mean, more often than not, a parent would want to say, oh, free, then do it, versus I want to be involved in my child's future. Let me see exactly what's going on. Who gives away free lessons like this, especially when they're expensive? So Marcus comes in, and I believe this is like the second episode in a row that his little ass, I'm sorry, it's like, badass kids. He goes to, Jefferson Park late at night, and Delilah says not to do that. So he loses his phone for about a week. She's concerned about her son's safety. She actually goes ahead to call Gordon, the ex-husband, the father, to let him know that you need to watch our son to make sure he doesn't go to the park. While he's like, well, no, he needs some independence. He can take care of himself. But Delilah's like, look, what about the other kid that was killed over there by a black cop? It's hard enough trying to raise, children nowadays. I'm trying to raise my black son not to be killed for no reason at all by the police. So from there, I think, Katia, basically Gordon's girlfriend, apparently. He's like, hey, hang up. You don't have to take that. Who's that? Don't worry about it. Beep. So Tamara's standing on the balcony, and she's still like freaking out about, this is messed up. I can't believe my firm did that kind of trick with the reporter. Delilah's pissed off. Casey comes out to kind of, reassure her, like, look, I think you need to call Delilah, make amends, and then it slowly switches over to sex. And all I could think about is like, damn, Jill has the sexiest lips. All right, so next thing you know, Jamal, Casey's single friend, who was introduced, I believe, in episode 2, right? He calls Delilah because I think, was it Casey or Tamara that gave Jamal the phone number, and she thinks he's really nice and everything, but given the fact that her and her friend are going against each other in court soon, after everything's said and done with this case, then they could talk about potentially going out, and he's cool with it. So then we go over to Demetria's first day at the office. She's all, chipper, sitting on the front steps bright and early. Harper really doesn't like her, but she comes in and lets her in, shows her a new office, and she's like, okay, I need to get the feng shui in here, right? Basically rearrange it. I can relate to that. When you're in a new setting, you want to make it comfortable for you. So Delilah shows up with the box of evidence that Gary's wife gave her from the office he had like in the back shed. And essentially she makes it clear, like, look, go through this evidence with a fine-tooth comb. You need to find out. Well, we need to find anything that could prove that these radios are indeed dangerous, because I sniffed a cover up. And it was funny because I think this might be involving a murder too. And then Dimitri was like, oh Lord. So after that, we got Nate calling somebody about the Delilah situation. I'm like, wait, is this about their father? And then we switch over to Gordon and his girl. It turns out, I believe, this is the same student from the college he teaches at that he had an affair with. I believe Delilah said Gordon had multiple affairs. I believe this girl was one of them, because she brings up the fact that I got about 3 weeks until, I need to find a new place. So why don't we move in together in a new location? He doesn't want to do it just yet because Delilah doesn't know they're back together. So I do believe this young lady he is dating right now, who's always over at his place, is the same person most likely responsible for the divorce. So the fact that Delilah doesn't know about it is a big deal for him. And then we have Miss Virginia just in awe of Maya's skills with the violin. Delilah shows up a few minutes late, talks to Miss Virginia about it because she's still suspicious. And she rightfully doesn't want her daughter to have false hope. Basically, I don't want to send her on this path and then nothing happens from it. It's almost the same thing of like some sort of like talent agency where basically, hey, sign up your kid to model or something like that. And then your kid gets hyped up. It doesn't work out. And then they're heartbroken. So they agree to let it happen. I believe she's like, hey, come back Thursday, have like these 4 pieces ready to go, and they'll start the free lessons. All right. So then we go over to Harper and Demetria. Harper's about to leave. Demetria's going to lock up because she still has files to go through. And she actually sees something pretty shocking not too long after Harper leaves. I got to say, Harper is pretty damn fine herself too. So after that, we go over to Nate and hang on. Yeah, Nate. No, not Nate. I'm sorry. Mace, the private investigator working with Delilah. They're just catching up over, the whole case. And he talks about playing some Uno. And this is at a point where it's like 3 different people come up to Delilah's door. Okay. First, her father comes over because he wants to take Dion. Apparently, that's who Nate had called on the phone. Nate was pissed off about the whole Delilah confronting Andre and Christine. So their father was like, hey, let me take Dion for a few days. Let things smooth out. Then I'll bring him back to you. Or the alternative is like, hey, let Dion stay with me until, Nate is discharged from the hospital. I love this scene between Delilah and Dion. I just love their chemistry together as auntie and nephew. He's like, what am I doing wrong? And this is so real. I mean, heaven forbid if I ever get married and have a kid, I don't want a divorce because I don't want to have to deal with putting a child in a situation like that. I mean, to be honest, it's sad to say, but there are just so many broken homes nowadays, not to mention and not just today's time, but, all the time. I'm just a person who wants no kids until after marriage. That's just my call. So I'm not going to try to judge people, but I just feel like there's so many complications that come from having a child with somebody when you're not even married or in a full-on relationship. And I feel like it's not, and I'm not saying it's impossible to have a child have a healthy environment to develop in when it's not both parents, because obviously things happen. Somebody might pass away, somebody might be in the military, so it's just so many factors. But me personally, it just sucks because it's like, poor little guy feels like he's doing something wrong. Wait, I did something wrong? Why I had to go to Papa's house? It's just, I felt so bad. I just want to give a little man a hug. So basically Delilah refuses to give him up. And also apparently, their father may not have been the best father when they were growing up. And she calls him out. It's like, look, you're not going to come over here and take Dion. I guess like trying to make up for what you didn't do when we were children, especially when Nate is in his feelings right now. Next thing you know, Tamara comes over to ask Delilah about, several things like, look, I apologize. I had nothing to do with the fake reporter. Why did you turn down a date with Jamal? It's so much. She's like, look, we made an agreement years ago. Like, we never go to bed mad at each other. I just felt so bad for her because the look in her eyes is like, hey, girl, please forgive me. I had nothing to do with this. Believe me. But Delilah is worked up because she's dealing with a lot right now. I mean, from the situation with her father just now, then earlier in the day with Nate, it's just so much going on. I think she kind of snapped at Marcus as well when I think Dion was brought back into the house. It's like, wait, Dion's leaving? Because I think that's when her father was out there. So they go to the kitchen to make the meatballs. And after Tamara leaves, because like, look, Tamara, I appreciate you coming over, but there's just a lot I'm going through right now. We can do this later. And again, in a way, I honestly thought that Delilah was going to run out there to her friend. I just felt like that's where the story was going, but it didn't. So she goes into the kitchen and apologizes to Marcus for snapping at him. And they go on to make the meatballs. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the kind of parent I want to be if I'm ever a child, because I never had that. Like my parents like got loud with me and all. There was never an apology. It's like you just shut up and then, leave. So that's essentially, I just like seeing scenes like that where the parent recognizes they were out of line and they apologize. So, but in any case, Demetria comes over, and again, there's just everybody coming to Delilah's house tonight, and she comes over because she found some important information. It turns out there are a lot of inconsistencies about the reports on certain members of the military who were discharged. It's like, this one was an injury, this one was an ambush, but nobody mentioned the radio malfunctions because they were indeed dangerous. Nate apparently thought he was ambushed, but it seems that the radios may have been the cause for his accident. So that's where the episode ends. And I really love this episode, guys. I really did love it. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts on Delilah episode 3, Sometimes Apart. I mean, the title came into play when Delilah's talking for kids about how sometimes things grow up, are together, sometimes they're apart. I think it's when Maya had asked if her and Tamara was still good as friends, and they were, but it's just a lot going on right now. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we've all been in that situation where we take the emotions we have from one situation and unintentionally bring it into another situation. Especially, I felt so bad for Tamara in this episode because she had no idea what was going on. She really didn't. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.